All right, welcome everybody to another episode of CPtechnicraft Live. It's my first time back in a while, and I'm streaming on YouTube this time instead of directly from Twitter. So apologies to anybody who was looking for me on Twitter. Um, that being said, uh, most of what I'm going to do today is I need mats for, yeah, I like to drop. I'm not a big fan of walking. Um, as you see down below is the going to be the new first floor of my sorting system. Basically, everywhere you see a hopper is going to be a item sorter all the way around, and the delivery system is down below, like 4 or 5 floors below this, um, and it'll take everything from down below where it's delivered to this building, and it'll pump it up over here where we'll come in, go over here, drop down into that stream, which will be right here, going this way, circle around the room, and come back here. If all of the items um, are not absorbed somewhere along this line, they will kick over, drop down this hole. They'll hit the next floor that'll be made down below, and process, will repeat. It'll spin down. Now, this water stream you see here coming from my old but still quite functional mob farm. Um, I will, before this room is complete and operational, that'll be disconnected, rerouted over here, and it'll probably be dropped in somewhere around, this corner right here, somewhere along this line, so that it feeds into the system from the start. Um, the old room, which I will take you downstairs now to see, there's nothing wrong with it except for I just initially when I built it, it was more than enough for what I needed, but it has long since outlived its usefulness as far as I can't upgrade it. As you see, this is the delivery floor right here. This room is going to get completely expanded because I got to make at least 2 more of these delivery um, chambers here for incoming carts. I'm thinking I might do a total of 5, add 3 more of them over here. And, that's our personal cart for those who are curious. Um, most of the farms are out of range of this building. So if you're at the farm and you send a cart, it won't reach this building on its own. Not until somebody comes within range of that cart, loads those areas in, and then causes it to finish its travel. So what I've been doing is working on taking all of those farms. I started with the gold farm, which is right over behind in the addition to the woodland mansion over there behind the cherry trees. And when anything from the farm, whether it be gold nuggets, um, rotten flesh, or uh, actual gold bars, because those are a drop, when any of those systems leave the farm and come here, it will trigger a cart that you'll be sitting on when you're over at the farm doing your AFK thing or whatever, which will bring you here, and it'll bring you to a timer system on the bottom floor, which will allow for your cart to make it up here, get into this delivery system. It'll bring you back up here. And because of the amount of time that it actually takes to empty a cart, there's another timer here that once this timer is done, it allows the timer down below to um, to reset in its entirety. And then this one will finish. It'll trigger these 2 rails here to go, and you'll get shot back to the gold farm. Um, and then the next time you come in, when you stop at the bottom timer, of course, this one will get a chance to fully reload. And it's, it gives you about, I want to say 2.5, 3 minutes time or somewhere around there, maybe 3.5 minutes time with the cart sitting here on the unloader so that this thing doesn't get horribly jammed up, because the gold farm itself will, after it's running for a while, it'll be sending you on a cart probably every 2 or 3 minutes, maybe 4 or 5, but probably closer to 2 or 3 between gold nuggets and um, rotten flesh. Um, that farm is going to get a bit of an overhaul when 1.2.1 comes out because of the auto crafters, because I'm totally going to take use of the auto crafters and reduce the amount of nonsense over there, because there's so many gold nuggets. Like, ugh, ugh. There's so many gold nuggets. It's great, but there's a lot to process and hand deal with, having to turn them all into bars and then either bars into blocks or utilize them or what have you. The other system that I'll be working on, and the reason that I needed to clear room, is because I need to devise a way so that no matter where you come into this building from, the building and the rail system recognizes that and make sure, instead of having to have, you know, 10 different uh, personal loader and unload or personal stall stations, which is kind of what I call that. It just stalls you out while things happen. Instead of having to have one for each and every individual farm, I want to make a rail system that is smart, so that when you come in here and you trigger that farm, it's going to detect which farm you come from, and it's going to, at the end of your journey, send you back to that same farm. Um, so I need room for that most likely to happen. Here is the old storage room and sorter. As you see, I ran into issues where I had to make two of these because the system would get so overloaded with, as you can see, gold nuggets and rotten flesh, that I had to expand the storage for them. So what I wanted to do is, making the new room, I'm going to just make multiple of the ones that I know I have farms that will be coming in at larger numbers, like iron from the iron farm. That one's going to get an upgrade because there'll be a lot of iron coming in. Same thing here with the poppies from the iron farm, and then miscellaneous drops that'll come from, like, say, the mob farm that's up above there, because I mean it's so close. Why not have it connected and have things working for it? Um, there'll be other things like, eventually we'll come across dirt. I have dirt and cobblestone in chests everywhere. And when I say everywhere, I mean I've got chests full. I've got boxes, shelf boxes full all over the place. I bet you if you can see down on the ground outside these windows over here, no, you can't see that spot. Um, but there's chests down there. There's chests right below these windows. Yep, see them? Those are right there. Probably all cobblestone. Those are all um, dirt, and then that one is probably miscellaneous things like flowers and just nonsensical stuff that got along the way. So the problem is that between the actual building size itself and the fact that I just like the design and use of the deep slate tiles like this, that it requires a lot of them. And well, we all know you got to go deeper to find them. So with that being said, we're going to go deeper. We're gonna go down there. We're going to do some mining. Glass and tinted glass are another favorite of mine that I use a lot with my designs here, at least on this system. And we're going to go down and we're going to mine out. And I'm just clearing a big wide room. I want to say 7 blocks high. I think that's as far as I can mine, standing on one spot. So I'm just clearing out huge sections of what used to be my old diamond mine. Um, but I've made so many tunnels and what have you, and dug for so many, thousands of blocks in one way, thousands of blocks in another way, 5 feet wide, 3 feet tall, and stuff like that, that I've amassed quite amount of things like diamonds and stuff like that that I just have not had a lot of use for at the moment. Of course, I always will find a use for them. But with that being said, I think we'll just go ahead and head on down and go do some mining. I know it's not very exciting, but it's something. Now, I'm lazy at times. I always come back and finish things once I've figured out what I decide I just believe is the right course of action to go. Um, so my method to get down to my digging spot, it's old, it's archaic, but it works and it's effective and it's quick. It's real simple. We look around, You see out here? What's this? Oh, a random hole. Oh, what happens if we fall? Ah! Well, nothing. Look at that. We are already in my basement layer. And here's what I'm talking about clearing out. I first cleared out, you know, 4 blocks high, I think it was. And then realized, yeah, that's just not gonna be enough. So I'll take out my deep slate tile there. You see, and this has happened because they got high enough, you'll find more diamonds. And that's just from, partially clearing out this room because again, as you can see, it was mine tunnels, mine shafts in both directions like that. And then this over here is my rail system that you can see takes me to the wood farm, to the bone meal farm, and on the base tour. Right now, currently the base tour, if you've watched any of my previous videos, it just circles the entirety of the base via, like the second or third story of the main wall um, that keeps you in and safe. Um, but eventually, I'm going to make a much larger train station here that will connect everything, and there'll be, a nice little elevator type of system that'll, couple along with this. This is your ride back up. It's just like the ride down. Just hop in and up you go. It's pretty quick. It's simple. I don't need it to do anything more right now. And eventually, when I do, well, I'll make it fancier. I'll do something special with it because, why not? Um, yeah. So it takes a tremendous amount of this. If I could express to you how many tens upon tens of thousands of deep slate tile in the last year in just this world that I have mined in order to build this base and some of the structures and things in it, like the tower. Um, Gosh, it brings almost tears to my eyes. But at the same token, I just like the way it looks. It's just worth it. And when you grind like this, inevitably you'll find that you end up with a lot more things that you didn't realize you were going to have that you're very happy you have, like diamonds. Um, Anyone who has gone on Twitter and seen my like my cover photo, you'll recognize that it's CPtechnicraft written in blocks and different ones. Like one block is all gold, another block is all iron, another one is all diamonds, another one's all emeralds. Um, this is a straight survival world. Achievements are still available. I still get them every once in a while when I do something that's either semi new to the game that they added an achievement for, or just one that I never bothered getting at some point or something like that. Um, but all the blocks, the charcoal, I mean, they're all made out of actual full blocks. Um, and the diamonds, it wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for the fact that I was doing stuff like this. Let me clear out these last couple here, and I'll take you over and I'll show you what I mean by the types of holes that I dig and the insanity that I think takes over me as I'm doing stuff like that. Let's see, because I'm not down here to forget stuff. Um, this room is a bit on the big side. No, actually, yeah, it is a little big. Let me get to the end here, and I'll show you like the average size tunnel that I typically dig when I set out to go from one place to another, because I know I'm going to want 2 tracks eventually. Some of these I did not do much more than just that. As you see, that's a track right there. That heads down towards my wood farm, and I also made my stepson a little piece of land that's 1,000 blocks, south and 1,000 blocks, I want to say, to the east of this location. And I told him if he was good and he behaved himself, that eventually I would make a pathway for him to ride a rail from his place to mine. Um, but he's still the kind of kid that gets a little bit of funny ha to destroying things, and he's like the kid that would come into the room and kick over your Lego project that you were building for 6 months. So with that in mind, I never actually completed the tunnel. I'm all the way basically over to him. Um, and I've started the upward travel into his land, but I stopped short. Yes, you did see that right. I've been very careful. I had to go around and sneak around and destroy a lot of crap and have to be careful. I started drawing the ire of certain things, like warden-like things. Um, so that's another project. I put a halt on a lot of that kind of digging for now because I'm going to basically encase all of my very low um, mine rails, like mine cart rails like this. All the walls are going to be built out of wool. The floors are wool, the ceilings will be wool, different colors, of course, but they'll all be wool. To insulate the sound so that you don't have to worry when traveling in my underground system about the potential of, bad things happening to you in the dark. Um, that being said, you know, it takes a lot of time. It is a devotion kind of a thing. Like if you're not dedicated, you don't understand when you get into it that if you're going to build big projects, massive scale machines or buildings or anything like that in survival mode, it's going to require a lot of materials. And sometimes those materials, to use the ones that you really want to use, it's going to be risky. Um, even when I come down here, I've been playing on the server for a year. I get lazy or forgetful or complacent, whatever you want to call it, and I forget things like, oh, if you hit the wrong block, lava is going to pop out at you. And if you aren't ready for it, dum dum dum, you're going to lose everything. And once you've got a full set of netherite gear, and you do things like that, you find yourself wearing a diamond helmet until you get around to go and getting some more, you know, ancient debris and stuff like that, which, eventually I will. I'll probably make a video when I do it just for people to laugh because me and the Nether are just not good friends. Me and the End have our differences, but we tolerate each other. But me and the Nether, no, not good bedfellows. Um, I used to have a buddy that played with me, and we would barter and trade. I would get things that he needed, or build farms for things that he needed or wanted. And he did things like he loved to play in the Nether. He loved to go in there, man. They give that guy a bow and arrow, some diamond armor, and send him into the Nether, and he was happy as could be. But he had a bit of a change of life circumstance happened to him a few months back, and he's dealing with that. I just talked to him yesterday. He's doing good, so that's great. And hopefully he can come back. He's always got a place on the server because he's been a good friend and an ally for many years. Um, but it is a dedication. It is a grind. I'm not gonna lie. That there are a lot of times when I'm just like this for an entire afternoon. The kids, they are at school. The baby will be asleep, and I'll come in here and I'll just sometimes I'll put on a TV show on Netflix or something like that. Yay for The Witcher. But I'll put a headphone on, listen to whatever show I'm watching while mindlessly just grinding like this for hours. What the payoff is that I get to come back later and look at what I've built and be like, that's awesome. That is just cool. The kids love it. They think it's just the most amazing thing. My 6-year-old, going to be 7 years old in March, stepson, he loves Roblox, loves Minecraft. Not the greatest reader yet, so that makes some things difficult. I think a goldfish has a greater attention span than this kid has patience, so that doesn't help at all. Um, but he wants to learn, and he loves watching me build stuff and do stuff. And it seems a lot of kids do. A lot of kids like this game. It appeals to just about every age group that I can imagine, except for people that are literally incapable of holding a controller or playing on a keyboard. So that's a beautiful thing. But if you can get past the idea grind, or find somebody that you can pal up with that you can trust for the most part, not to you know take your things when you're not looking or without asking, or just be a destructive butthead, because yeah, those kinds of people do exist. Sorry to say, but they do. um, it's always best to have people in real life because they're more likely to treat you a little better than complete strangers on the internet. But you are just as capable of finding good people online. Trust me, I found them. There are a lot of people from the Divergence SMP group. Um, I came across them. I don't even remember exactly how our first interactions went, but um, you know, back and forth over the course of the last year or so, and you know, they're kind of my go-to people when it comes to the internet. I believe they all have a streaming, stream at one point or another. You know, shout out to Married in Minecraft. He was one of the first people I talked to with them, and him and his wife have just been great people. And Kat, you too. Shout out to Kat Beanie and Ding Truth. And you'll find them if you're looking for them. Trust me, they're out there. Just don't be pushy. Um, most of the time, stuff like that is, people contact you and let you know that they're interested in talking to you about, things. Don't try push it. No sense in it. Trust me, if you've got something to offer, people will find you. It takes time. I mean, I've been actively online, either posting, at times streaming for a year and a half, and I'm not making any real money or anything. I haven't exactly put any super effort into that aspect of things, but I get a little following. I get people that I regularly see commenting and liking videos and tweets and things like that. So it's encouraging to know that there are people that they get a bit of you know even a small amount of pleasure out of or enjoyment out of the things that I do, which is great considering I'm going to do them anyways because I'm just stubborn like that. If the internet didn't exist and Minecraft still did, I'd still be playing Minecraft and doing these crazy things because it's just in my nature. Um, but I'd streamed for a while, ran into some problems internet wise. I couldn't figure out what's going on. I'm not even so sure that I've actually solved the problem. I know that's a scary thought, but I have to try and stream again to figure out if those problems are solved or not, and maybe eventually I'll just have to find somebody that can help me troubleshoot everything out if I indeed still have problems. Um, some of you may remember from my first days, or weeks streaming on Twitter. I mean, I think the first week of streams that I did, I had sound troubles like you wouldn't imagine. Um, Microphone not working, microphone being too quiet, microphone making noises, um, just weird things. But in the end, it pretty much came down to just being determined. If you're determined, don't don't let things shake you. You're always going to run into roadblocks. You're always going to hit spots where something just seems so difficult that it's like, what's the point? But the point is that once you conquer that roadblock, you pass over that hurdle. That's something that now will never stump you like that again. And that's something that you could potentially provide help for somebody else new starting out, or somebody that, even if they're not new, but maybe haven't run into those problems in the beginning and hit them later on, that you can be like, oh yeah, I had that problem too. Why don't you try this and try this and this and see if that helps at all? You never know. You'd be amazed. That person that you help today might be the person that you're looking at tomorrow when they've got 5 million subscribers, and you're thinking, man, that's awesome. I got to help somebody that's that popular because of the things that I went through and figured out. So, or maybe not. You never know. Possibilities are endless in this world, I suppose. Um, let's see. Let's see if you have anything. Well, let me give you the rundown of things I've got, like a long list of things to do that are on my mind, and they probably will be the first of things to get done or be worked with. One of them is obviously the upgrading of the gold farm. I have upgrades to like the sorting aspect of the gold farm. The only reason I haven't implemented them yet is until 121 comes out with the auto crafters, I'm not exactly sure of the amount of space I'm going to need because although I could figure it out now using the snapshots, there's no guarantee that by the time that snapshot actually goes live, that those changes or those things will actually work and the size dimensions and all this and that and the other will actually function. And I don't want to put a lot of time and effort into changing that room to have to go and redesign it all over again. Um, so I've left some of the upgraded designs basically kind of as in a holding pattern over on my test server, just so that I have a recollection. I know what they are, easily can reference them. Um, but there are things I can change, and one of them is going to be, like I said, the delivery system, um, making it so that the tower is aware of which farm you entered it from, so that it can make sure that when you leave, it redirects you to the proper farm, so that you don't come in from the gold farm and get sent back to the iron farm. Although that would be kind of funny. Um, and I got to do this sorting system. I decided to start on it first because I was going to do the gold farm. I even tweeted about the fact that it needed some performance upgrades. And then I started using the gold farm and I was making a video. And in the video, I went back after a while because I went to the sorting center to basically clear out all those gold nuggets and make them into iron bars. And I realized so many iron nuggets had made it in that couple of hour period of time that it overwhelmed both rows of double chests. So there were 10 double chests up there in that delivery system or in the sorting system, and every single one of them for the gold nuggets was full. So then it was just sending them down the line. Um, and then it was overwhelming the overflow, which I had already adjusted a little bit to get ready for the new room. So there was only like one chest there, and that got overflowed, and then it just jammed everything up. And I was like, oh no. So that's what I realized. I need to expand my storage capabilities, um, and basically do something unusual that I've never done before, which is make multiple sections, multiple storage units in a row for the same thing, but also a either an overfill filter on certain things or an indicator when these chests in a section are full or getting full, um, in order to let me know, hey, from a distance, if I'm in the base area, even if I'm not in the tower, I might be able to see, like a beacon light or something somewhere that tells me, hey, so one of the chests, one of the storage system items is overfull or about to be overfull and needs your attention now before the system gets backed up and crashes. Um, but we'll see what happens. I'm not sure how that'll work. I might just put something on the overflow that just recycles things, that if they overfill the overflow, then it sends them back through the main system and just keeps them in an infinite loop. The only thing I'm afraid of with that is that they may time out. I don't know. I've never tried to put items in a water stream and just send them in a circle, a constant moving circle, or whatever have you, constantly keeping them in motion to see how long they last. I don't know if it's just, um, we'll say you open your inventory and I grab this and I drop that stack. If I leave that sitting there, I believe it's like 5 minutes or something like that. That stack will just disappear. It's just an empty entity floating out there and it'll time out. I don't know if it's in motion going around a water stream, if that changes the duration, if it eliminates that duration from even starting, like the timer on that 5 minutes from even starting, or if after 5 minutes I'm SOL in a sense as a result. Not a big fan of losing all of those items. Um, so I'm probably going to make some form of storage that was not where I wanted to go. Some form of a storage system that will basically redundancy, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And I think it just took me till that moment to use that word. But, a redundancy system so that items that do not make it into a storage center, whether because it's full already or there's no spot for it, and the overload for things that don't have a storage gets too full, that there's always some way of preserving those items and keeping the system from getting jammed up. Um, but again, that'll come in once I get some more floors to the actual sorting system made out. Um, that's why I need all of this, because as you noticed, a lot of those floors don't have floors in them. They've got outlines one block wide where the floor should go. And that was because I spent so much of my time and effort for a while there building that wall, and all the deep slate that it took to uh, make the roof tiles out of deep slate tile stairs was exhaustive. Oh my lord, I can't explain to you how many completely full shulker boxes I went through in the process of building that wall. And the wall itself, almost the entire way around on the top floor, still only has like 2 levels of roof on it, because it's not actually complete. The inner portion visible to people inside the actual base, that's complete for the most part, other than the top roof line. But that actually is going to encompass the entire mountain range around the base. So that eventually, which I would imagine is probably going to take me a better part of a year to get all the way through that, but eventually that will be encompassing the entirety of the mountain range, um, which would be mildly insane because it's a big mountain range. And it's going to take so many materials. As you see, there's lapis lazuli and some more iron. It's just the miscellaneous stuff you get along the way. It adds up. And eventually what happens, you'll see, it gets to a point where like, man, I don't have a lot of room for spare items or for drops of the extra cobblestone before my thing's filled. And that's why I keep chests like this around. This one, I can go, okay, you're all extra stuff. There you go. I throw all that in there, and boom. That's full, that's full. Let's see, I don't even know what time is it. It's a little after 12. I'm probably going to hop off here. I'm not sure if my buddy Major Madden from Married in Minecraft is streaming right now or not. I don't have any of my notification things visible. And did I just see what I thought I saw, or was that a glitch? Did I just see what looked like uh, a shrieker signal going off? I can't tell. Skulk sensor. Send an indicator. Must not have. I don't see anymore. I thought I had cleared the area above of any possibilities of that. I have a couple spots along my track that you'll see an indicator go off, but you're gone from that area so fast that it doesn't, you don't trigger anything. I have only triggered a warden down in these parts once before. Because normally once I realize that I'm in that area, if I'm not in the mood to deal with that kind of headache, going up there, sneaking around and covering everything up with wool so that I can go up there and yes, I use um, my handy dandy Silk Touch pickaxe, which I keep right there for quick grabs. I'll go up, throw a bunch of wool down around an area, and then I'll grab all the skulk sensors, all the skulk shriekers. I'll grab them all. I don't care. Yes, it has got me killed. Yes, when I feel like dealing with it, I dress very differently. I don't take all my netherite gear for the most part. I take a couple things because they're just faster and stronger. But for the most part, I go up there kind of like I do when I go to the end. I go to the end with only exactly what I need to survive. I take my sword, I take a pickaxe, I take a bow and arrow with infinity on it, and an arrow, and a few shulker boxes, my elytra, and some, a pile of rockets, and that's pretty much all I'll take with me because I just don't want to lose everything. Because I have gone in there before, even on this server and back in the beginning, and went in there and I went with my previous laptop before I got the computer I'm on now, and the laptop for some reason started to lag real bad, and it wouldn't load and wouldn't load, and then all of a sudden it loaded all at once, and I realized I was free falling. And by the time I caught myself and tried to pull out of it, it was too late. I literally died and lost like all my gear, like everything. I almost cried. Um, and then it cost me an arm and a leg because my buddy had pretty much everything I needed to replace what I had lost, but he wasn't coming off it so easy because he helped me get the stuff the first time. So yeah, I had to pay him back for that, but that was fine. But I learned from those mistakes and move on. Um, I've learned that doing certain things is just easier with groups. You can do them by yourself, but if you can turn, if you've got a good group willing to go with you, never turn it down. And I just go for what makes me happy and what makes the game fun for me over the long term. And one of those is just building weird stuff, big things. I like building big stuff. Um, I don't know. I've got some prospects in mind down the road once I get most of my other little pipe dreams out of the way because I don't want my plate too darn full. But I'm thinking it may be season 3 because this is currently season 2 of CPtechnicraft. I'm thinking it probably season 3 is going to be more focusing on bigger, um, like how ridiculous can I go with certain things? Like, okay, if I make a gold farm, but right now my gold farm only has 2 portals, but that 2 portal gold farm requires me to have 2 separate sets of um, sorting equipment. I have to have a total of 4 single item sorters, 2 on either side of my trident killer. So 2 outputs of the trident killer go to one sorting system, 2 outputs go to the other sorting, and then it after all the sorting is done, the items will get reintroduced to each other before they go into the delivery system. It'll take them over to the sorting tower and storage tower. Um, that's part of what the upgrade is coming from is there's a lot of hoppers and hoppers just introduce a bit of lag. The more hoppers you got with things in them, the more lag you'll get. But it's not like my computer doesn't really suffer the lag too bad. But what it does is that lag actually will screw up the delivery in the hoppers, and you'll get items like single items that somehow pass 2 filters and will find their way through things because the game just has a momentary glitch lag, and that's all it takes. Um, so I've tried to streamline things and eliminate as many um, hoppers out of it as I can, being reasonable because there are times when hoppers are the only way to go. Um, but it can overwhelm most systems until I had that large of a sorting system and delivery and everything figured out how to time it so that nothing gets backed up and this and that and the other. um, Man, I could only imagine what would happen if I had 6 or 7 portals bringing me in mobs into that farm. Like my current system would just immediately be overwhelmed, even though right now you see that, I mean, there's like, you'll see 20 mobs at a time up top in the portals, just in the water stream headed towards the Trident Killer from just those 2 portals. Um, and that required a lot to make that work. I can only imagine if I ended up with, 7 portals, how crazy that would be. But just because it's crazy absolutely does not mean I won't do it. It just means I'm not doing it yet, because that's something I would have to be prepared for, and I probably would do that on a live stream because I think people would really enjoy just watching that chaos unfold, um, as well as myself. So I'm assuming that other people would find that entertaining. I hope. But that is another day. Am I almost? Yeah, I'm almost. I figure, well, what the heck? We'll clear out this last stretch here, and then I'll call it. I'll call the stream. Um, yeah, if anyone has happened to be in the comments, I apologize. This is the first time I've streamed in a couple weeks. I don't have my setup that up so I could see any comments or see who's come in. I don't know if I've been talking to myself this whole time or to a group of people. If you've been asking me questions, I apologize. If I didn't answer them, I will go through the chats and see if there's anything there. And if you had any questions or anything, I will recognize you there and respond. Um, so yeah, if you thought I was ignoring you or you mentioned that you were here, I'll say, hey, thanks for showing up. I don't know you're actually here, but I do appreciate it. Um, and I will get all of that stuff set up so I can, be a little bit more attentive because, I mean, after all, the point of me streaming is for you guys to be able to interact and enjoy and have fun and joke around and what have you, or give me advice. I've met a lot of people that got amazing advice and have said things to me that I'm I've used that advice and been eternally grateful for it. So yeah, never think that because somebody thinks seems like they know what they're doing or this, that, and the other means don't give your advice. Nah, I'm not one of those types. You give me advice if I don't need it. I thank you for it anyways, but I may need it. I may use it, and I'm pretty much always going to listen to it. It doesn't necessarily mean I'll apply that information, but I will listen to what you have to say because strange things. People can come up with, you can just find the random of information that you never knew you needed from the strangest of sources. And if you're open minded and willing enough to let people speak, you'll be amazed at the amazing things you can learn when you do that. So that is definitely something that I encourage. Um, I know there's people that have asked to be able to come on and play on my servers, and I'll be honest, probably right now is not the time that that'll happen. Um, just because I don't have the infrastructure to be able to properly moderate something like that. Um, it's just a lot. It takes a lot to do what I do to get the streaming and all of that, and then to try to add moderation of a server while trying to do everything at the same time, it becomes too many full-time jobs. And I do actually still work a full-time job because, like I said, I don't make any money doing this. This is all for my own personal pleasure. Um, But with that being said, I hope that anyone that listened had some kind of fun. Maybe you learned something, maybe you didn't. But either way, I am glad that you came, and we will see you again on the next episode of CB Technicraft Live. Have fun, y'all.